Welcome to Vienna. Originally the Roman settlement of Vindobona, nearly 2,000 years later, it remains one of Europe's most beautiful capital cities. Hello everyone, my name is Roland Ramos and welcome to Artifications. When it comes to the arts, none have left such a gilded mark as the Secessionist movement, who in 1897 formed its own union after leaving the Association of Austrian Artists in favor of setting up their own union. This union stimulated the art world focus, making the early 1900s in Vienna a time of artistically informed change. This was all documented fantastically by the Leopold Museum in their multi-floored exhibition, Vienna 1900. It is here we examine social contributors by the likes of Koloman Molschel, Egon Schill, and Gustav Klimt. Over 100 years later, Vienna maintains its position as one of the leading international cities for the arts. We can see that this translates to a bustling community of artists and many schools. We focused on the Vienna Academy of Visionary Art in the NeuBauGasse section of Vienna to explore its operations and its effect on the Viennese art scene. But first, Vienna. Vienna feels more like the capital of capitals. Its opulence is on quiet display everywhere you look. The fantastic architecture of the city is spread far and wide. This was the epicenter of the Austro-Hungarian Empire for many years. Even the king's stables were outsized and tremendous. It was so big, in fact, that in 2001, after extensive rehabilitation and construction, it was reopened as the brand new MuseumsQuartier, housing over 60 institutions spread over 1 million square feet. To get a better idea of how this massive facility influences the Viennese art scene, I met with Irene Preissler, a press officer with the MuseumsQuartier.
Yes, in former times these have been the imperial stables of the emperor. We have a lot of old buildings here and a lot of old architecture. So yes, you have to work with this architecture, and the new buildings here in MuseumsQuartier have to fit with this old architecture. So I think the mix between old and new is not only in the architecture, it is as well in the art you can see here at MuseumsQuartier, because you have, for example, the art of the 18th and 19th century in Leopold Museum, but you also have really modern art in MuMOG or in Kunsthalle, for example. So you have always this mix between old and new here. What we, the MuseumsQuartier, do is to do the marketing for the whole place. So for all museums together. But the different museums have their own marketing departments. So we are not responsible for the exhibitions inside the museums, but we are responsible for the whole outdoor spaces, for the courtyards and things like that. Meanwhile, we have projects together with the museums. For example, in summer we have special events together with the museums where they do special projects in the outdoor spaces to get a connection between inside, what is going on inside the museums, and outside.
With that, welcome to the Leopold Museum. The exhibition is Vienna 1900. Vienna 1900 is a tasteful exploration regarding the exciting cultural community that existed around the turn of the century right here in Vienna, and its effect upon the larger art scene throughout the world. Major influencers are celebrated here, and vibrant examples of their craft are expertly presented on multiple floors. Celebrated personalities such as Koloman Moser, Otto Wagner, and Gustav Klimt were featured prominently, but the real star of the show was the Secessionist movement. To every age its art, and to every art its freedom. The secession group was formed in 1897, when about 50 members of the then Association of Austrian Artists had judged this group to be too paternalistic, conservative, and a bit out of touch with the times. Secession achieved, they went on to make a large impact in the art world by staging fantastic exhibitions, inviting exciting artists to show in Vienna, and especially by blending art into every facet of society, be it architecture, drafting. You can see this in full effect at the Secession Building. The Secession Building was constructed in 1898 and itself is a homage to the Art Nouveau movement. Celebrated contributors include Koloman Moser, the visionary Austrian artist whose intention in his design was to imbue everything in our everyday with style and to make good design the foundation. His work extended far and wide to include fine art, stained glass, woodworking, and architecture. Otto Wagner. This architect of high regard left his distinctive style all over Vienna, including the Karlsplatz station. His architecture is appreciated far and wide. The first house he ever built is currently the home of the Ernst Fuchs Museum, which we'll learn about later. We also have Gustav Klimt, a leading artist of his time, and his golden period produced some of the most recognizable pieces the world over. His art and those of his contemporaries would later come to define the Art Nouveau movement, and in 1897 he was named as the first presiding head of the Secession Group. Welcome to NeuBauGasse. This hip part of Vienna is pervaded by small businesses, restaurants, and a youthful vibe. It's just a short walk from the MuseumsQuartier, and this part of town is quite accessible to foreigners, as many of the Viennese hipper hangouts are known to locals only. Heading down a nondescript street, you may come upon this sign, and perhaps peeked in the window and saw some fantastic art. Congratulations! You have found your way to the Vienna Academy of Visionary Art. Florence Ménard and Laurence Caruana are co-founders and co-directors of the Vienna Academy of Visionary Art. The facility opened its doors in 2013. It's part Hogwarts, it's part yoga retreat, but it's all visionary. While the school is named for visionary art, it in fact claims lineage to a preceding movement born in post-war Vienna named Fantastic Realism.
So, my name is Laurence Caruana, and I'm co-director of the Vienna Academy of Visionary Art with my wife Florence Ménard. And we're standing here in the Academy of Visionary Art. More specifically, we're down at the street level where we have our cultural space, and behind me over here, through that courtyard is our studio where we have our students pretty much from around the world, from India, from Taiwan, from all parts of the USA and Europe, who gather there, who come together and they study painting. And we are specifically doing visionary art. That's why we're the Vienna Academy of Visionary Art, where we take classical techniques of painting and we marry those with the pursuit of vision in painting. So, the reason why we are here in Vienna is that in the 1960s, in the Nachkriegszeit, the post-war period, there was an important movement of painting called Fantastic Realism. And Fantastic Realism had basically 5 major artists as part of their group: Ernst Fuchs, Arik Brauer, Wolfgang Hutter, Anton Lemmenden, and Rudolf Hausner. And those 5 became very recognized and well known within Europe in that period of the 60s, and actually they were the ones who brought flower power and psychedelics and so on to the mainstream in Europe in the 60s. They were part of that whole 60s movement. So I basically learned this technique of painting, which is a layered technique of painting called the Misch technique with Ernst Fuchs, and it revives a classical technique of painting which is quite rare.
Ernst Fuchs was born in 1930 and was directly influenced by many in the secession movement. This Austrian painter would prove to be a leader in the arts community, all the while forwarding the progress of fantastic realism. This misch, or mixed, combines layers of egg tempera, oil paints, and resin to create a lustrous effect upon the canvas. In addition to learning the misch technique, The curriculum includes various guided meditations, allowing students to unlock subconscious images that they can then bring in and use to influence their painting style. Students are also required to prepare and hang a full exhibition, making for a dynamic experience. But how necessary is meditation to visionary art?
So yeah, nowadays or since forever, I guess, people always need healing. Yeah, and the older you get, the more healing you need. And the fact of going into yourself by doing those inner journeys, we call them, or guided meditation, is not just about finding the images that you want to paint. It's an inner process that you're going through for your own healing purpose, and then you bring it through the image to kind of let it out. And when you show it to the world, people relate to it, because some people might have the same kind of feeling that comes out, and this painting is like a mirror, you know, it's like a reflection of yourself. Yeah.
I started to receive a lot of requests from other artists as to how this technique could be transmitted, since I learned it directly from Ernst Fuchs in the manner of master and apprentice. I was fortunate that I found an eco-village in Italy on the Mediterranean coast, and there I started to transmit this mish technique every summer. With the help of fellow teachers who also worked with Ernst Fuchs, like Amanda Sage and Andrew Gonzalez, the three of us started to attract actually a lot of students, so that we started to sell out every summer. And by 2012, it had become so popular that we decided to expand this summer seminar into a full academy.
It was this eco-village of Torre Superiore where many practitioners of visionary art first found themselves as students.
The seminar in Italy is how I actually met everybody. I'm teaching a class in mish technique and contemporary adaptations of this old painting technique. Visionary art and art in general really changed my life. I discovered it through meditation, and this is the art that comes from a really deep level of subconscious mind. It comes from the heart. It doesn't come from the ego that wants to be famous or wants to be recognized. It comes from the depth of the subconscious mind, and it shows us who we truly are.
So I'm co-directing the academy with my husband, Laurence Caruana. We created the school, the Academy of Visionary Art, together. And at that time, I wasn't painting at all. So when we decided to create the academy, I decided, okay, I'm gonna just try something out, because I need to know what you guys are doing, since I'm gonna be, creating a school with Laurence. And I was struggling on this drawing, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try, right? And at the end of the first week, I managed to see something that looked like myself in the eyes of that portrait. And I started mixing the paint, and I really loved it, and just something magical happened when I picked up the brush and started mixing the colors and put it on the painting. I just loved it. And now I can't stop. I have 1 day a week to paint, because I'm quite busy, so every Friday is my painting day, and it's the most precious day of the week.
As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise an academy, and a school is only as good as its teacher. Vienna, much like the individual, has been in a constant search for its true identity through the arts. We are blessed to have the vision to trace these successive generations of movements. Art is inherently reactionary. It is in places like Vienna, where discussion inevitably turns to the avant-garde, that new waves can be found always just around the corner. By the time this production is aired, the Vienna Academy of Visionary Arts has closed its doors, an economic victim to a tragic pandemic. As a primarily international school, it has become a victim of its own successes, as enrollment was overwhelmingly sourced from outside the country at a time where travel measures have been strictly curtailed. So I ask you now to take a moment and follow your brand new favorite artists from this production. Give them a like, maybe follow them. If you're so moved, then go ahead and invest in your own brand new visionary piece of art. Thank you for watching Artifications. My name is Roland Ramos. If you like what you've seen, then please follow us on any one of our social media platforms. Our goal here is simple: to make the art world just a little smaller, because you can't spell Earth without art. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear what's going on in your own community. So please feel free to reach out to me on the email below. And please, don't forget to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube page. Every click helps, and it helps to grow our visibility. Once again, thank you so much. I'm Roland Ramos.